are three, two, one, and live, it seems. What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome to the Spawncast Pre-Show. This is kind of like the first of its kind Spawncast Pre-Show. I've had these guys on before, but not in this type of way where I actually have it dedicated from the very beginning. It's usually like kind of like out of nowhere. I have them joining in. But I've got some guests for me here today on the Spawncast Pre-Show. We've got Stealth right below me. Stealth, how you doing today?
Hey, how you both doing?
Doing good.
Very
Doing
good.
good. Can't complain. Got Stealth here. And then we also have Paul Gale from the Paul Gale Network that's also here as well. Paul, how you doing today?
Great. Keeping dry.
Yeah, it's starting to rain here in California. It's raining all throughout. So, how's the weather looking like over there? You're East Coast, right? Stealth?
Yeah, I'm on the East Coast. And it's not raining, it's just freezing. It's just cold. It's winter.
Oh, okay. Just freezing cold. Yeah. Yeah, keep me out of that freezing cold. I'm good, man. I'm good. I am good. So I'll give you guys the breakdown right now. What's going on? So it's New Year's, obviously. So happy New Year's to all my peeps. So right now the Spawncast on John's channel, it's not going to be a live show. It's going to be a pre-recorded show. We already recorded it on Thursday. We recorded it. It was just a couple of us or a few of us there. It wasn't the whole cast, so it was a few of us there. So I'll be leading you guys into that, and that goes up at, it's a VOD, okay? It's not a live stream or anything like that. It's just a video on demand, so you can watch it whenever you want. So we'll go up to about when that starts, and then if you want, you can go from there straight to the video, or you can celebrate your New Year's or whatever the case is. So yeah, absolutely. But all right, so I got some guests here. We got a lot of topics to go over. Of course, it's a little bit different though. Like if you have questions, we'll definitely be answering them. But of course, like if you drop a donation, put your question, we'll try to do our best to answer those questions as soon as they go up through Super Chat or through Streamlabs, either one. And look forward in the future. I've got some more stuff that I'm going to be doing with podcasts and streaming. So exciting plans in the future. 2023 is going to be big for the podcast format and streaming. I'm definitely going to have these two on a lot more. I've been talking behind the scenes when it comes down to it, so look out for that, guys. So all right, so that's that. So let's go and get into the first topic. We'll go and get into it with the Zelda OLED that apparently images leaked. I'm not sure if you guys saw this. I'm pretty sure you guys saw this on Twitter and everything. About this Zelda OLED that randomly leaked. Seems like it was from the pictures seemed like it was from China. It seemed like it was a Foxconn worker based on the information from the picture, the format. I had some of my Chinese specialists tell me about that, and kind of how it was very similar to how one of the the Switch Lite leaked and stuff like that. So yeah, the pictures went up. It shows a Nintendo Switch OLED. It shows a Zelda themed one. It shows the box. It shows some Joy-Cons. It shows the dock. It shows pretty much everything. Heck, they even open it up and you can see like the packaging with the Joy-Cons in there with like the wrap. It seems like it was a factory worker or somebody that has, knowledge of that. It seemed very real, but people are still skeptical about it because people compared it to like the same crest on I think the Majora's Mask new Nintendo 3DS or something like that. So people are saying maybe they ripped it from there. Usually with these things here, guys, like it's really easy to tell a fake. I think it's somewhat easy to tell a fake because we've seen Zelda OLED Switches fakes come up out of nowhere. But I wanted to get your thoughts on this. We're gonna start off with Paul. What do you think so far about this Zelda OLED potential OLED leak?
If it's real, I think it looks cool. And the second question, of course, is if it's real? People have gotten so good. I wouldn't put it past somebody to, get a plastic mold, paint it themselves, set it up so it looks like it's a worker. And you're like, who has the time to do that? Why would anyone bother to do that? Well, some people just like to have fun on the internet. So it's possible that it's fake, but I think it's real. And, it's got a good color scheme regarding using some old symbols. Maybe it has something to do with the past in the game, so it's entirely possible that it's playing on nostalgia or something familiar without being too, well, what is this? Oh, it's Zelda, something recognizable with the family crest. So yeah, my money's on Team Real, despite thinking that it could be fake, of course. I like it though.
Stealth?
Visually, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting design. We've seen very convincing fakes in the past for all sorts of different things. So I'm not all in on it's real. That's why I didn't even really tweet about it, just in case. I'd rather wait for it to be official. And then if it is real, to be honest, not really that exciting for me. I'm not really in the market for another Switch OLED. I would be more excited if like maybe the collector's edition for the game leaked or something, and we saw like the art book design or something like that. Or even like the Pro controller or special edition Pro controller. As it stands, if it is real, great. If it isn't, it's fine too. It's not really. I mean, of course, of course, Tears of the Kingdom is going to have a special edition system.
Yeah.
That's just guaranteed. It's just a matter of is this real or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I was thinking about it because I was thinking like when people would ask like, do you think that they're going to do a Switch OLED? How do you feel they're going to do with these different things? And like to me, it's like, yeah, of course, it's like Legend of Zelda. Like they made so much money off of Legend of Zelda at the launch of the Switch. Like that black box. You guys remember like the special editions for this for Breath of the Wild? The black box Switch, the $99 one, all the different. They didn't have a special edition Switch itself, but they had so many different cool things, for the Switch, and that stuff just prints. It just prints, cash. So I mean, I would expect them to do something, whether it's Joy-Cons or it's. I mean, they did Skyward Sword Joy-Cons, so they did that for Skyward Sword. So I'm guessing there's going to be something. Now, if this one is the actual real one, yeah, we have to wait and see on that. But overall, I'm excited. I'm excited just to get into next year because there's some of my favorite games are coming out. You guys know, huge Fire Emblem fan. So Fire Emblem engages, bam, right there in January, and then Zelda is the first half. It's not like we have to wait till like the fall or anything. It's like the first half of the year. So that's super exciting. And it's the first half before it gets too hot here in California. Like sometimes gaming in the summertime here can just be terrible. Yeah, we got air conditioners, but it's just, you just don't feel like it sometimes because it's just so damn hot. So it's about spring. It starts getting warm around, for me, it starts getting warm around May-ish or so, but then it starts getting blazing hot in June. So I got a little bit of time before it starts getting like ridiculously hot here. So that's good. And I know, Paul, you're LA, so it's hot there too, but it's not
comparable to.
It's not as bad as Central California. It's not as bad as Central California. And I know Stealth, you live. It doesn't get too hot where you live, right?
It gets hot like 2 months out of the year.
Yeah.
I get like a 2 month window of summer, and then on the East Coast, the rest of it's just miserable.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Here we have 5 months of summer, like legit, June, July, August, September, and a little bit into October. My wife was like, "What is this never-ending summer that you guys have here? Like, what is this?" And I'm like, "No, it'll go away. Just wait till late October."
And snow is like a mythical thing for you guys. You've never seen snow.
I've seen snow one time in terms of where I live, Central California. I've seen it one time, and that was in 1999. It snowed one time, and they shut everything down. People were like, "What is this? We don't have snow tires." Yeah, mind blown. We were like, it was like flat out like East Coast snow. It was just coming down. We were all making snowmans, and we were throwing them. We're like, man, we're probably never going to see this again in our life here.
You understand. I mean, I have like a variety of shovels. For like different occasions and different ways to use them. That's something you guys would never understand.
No, never understand. Snow tires, snow shovels. We got shovels, but it's for dirt. It's like
I'll show you a garage. And by your garage, you can see where do you live.
Yeah. I mean, we got shovels, but it's just it's dirt. Shout outs to Blue EX. Thank you for the membership, man. Appreciate that. So yeah, man. I think it's cool. Like if this Tears of the Kingdom Zelda Switch thing actually ends up happening, dope. But I think we all kind of expected something, would be there. Now, here's another question before we move on to the next topic. There are some people that are saying, "Oh, well, now this affects." We're going to talk about Switch 2 talk, but now this affects Switch 2, and this all of a sudden means something connect. What do you guys think about that? It seems like people are taking it one thing or another side, and I'm like, I think that Switch 2 launches when Switch 2 is ready, and I feel that this was something that was already planned. Once whatever decision they make to make sure that the OLED was whatever the OLED is, I think that that's essentially what happened. Like, okay, well, it just becomes this. But what are your thoughts on people saying like this can affect the next Switch or something like that? How about you, Stealth? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's no rule that says a system has to launch with Zelda. I know some successful systems have, like Wii and Switch. So that was kind of the hope for people. who were kind of maybe sick of the Switch and want something new, that, Tears of the Kingdom would end up launching with a new system, and it still can. Nintendo doesn't have to give the next system like a huge leeway. They could announce it, and it's out in a couple months. Like hypothetically, I don't think it affects it one way or the other. My feeling is when they're ready to announce Switch 2, they're going to port Tears of the Kingdom. And they might even port Breath of the Wild as well. They're probably going to port both of them.
I think it's just going to be backwards compatible. Honestly, I don't think they're going to port anything.
Yeah, I mean, the system's going to be backwards compatible. I can see them doing like an enhanced edition.
Oh, okay.
Like PlayStation does.
Like a patch.
Like that. Yeah, that. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't even think Nintendo would do a patch. I would think they would sell you another game. Just that's better. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it affects it one way or the other. When Nintendo announces their next system, I'm assuming that Zelda's going to be ported.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess that's the big discussion, because we actually had that discussion on the Spawncast, and usually, just in the past at least, I know with the Wii U to the Switch, that was the thing. Oh, they're pointing over everything, but that's also because the format changed too. I think that really affected in terms of what was going down. Usually they just do backwards compatibility, but they did do what was it from the Wii to the Wii U, or no, from the GameCube. Was it GameCube to the Wii? Yeah, GameCube to the Wii, they did new play control stuff, right? That was like the new play control series where they would just take the game and then make motion controls on top of it. But from the Wii to the Wii U, they didn't really port anything. Like, they just left it. So it's always, you never know what they're going to do, because Wii U had like pretty much no major Wii ports. They didn't port over Skyward Sword. They didn't port over, I mean, in terms from the Wii. Now, GameCube, yeah, they did like Wind Waker, remastered. They did a few from what I remember from the GameCube, or even maybe from the Wii, but they didn't really do a ton. So
yeah, but the counter to that is pretty much on the 3DS and on the Switch, Nintendo has made a lot of money porting games. So even if they haven't done it in the past, it's worked for them doing it now. So they might do it in the future, if the cost is low.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul, what's your thoughts on this, man?
Well, my hope is they avoid consumer confusion. Like, if they have The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Nintendo Switch 2 edition to take advantage of it, are they selling it in stores as a Nintendo Switch 2 box? Is the cartridge different? Will the cartridge still work on the old Switch? Or is it just a new version, and if you buy it for NS2, it unlocks features? Or is it just going to be the old cartridge via patch? When you play it on Nintendo Switch 2, the features are unlocked, or do you have to pay for it that way? Like when you walk into the store, do you see Nintendo Switch Breath of the Wild and Nintendo Switch 2 Breath of the Wild? Have to do that, or just one cartridge working on both? So that's some of the things that I'm thinking about. Like, the form factor between Wii U and Nintendo Switch was very different, so there is kind of no mistaking it. The packaging is different, the medium is different. But assuming we're getting, a cartridge successor, how are they going to handle these ports? Or are they going to be, just completely backwards compatible down to the medium, and just you unlock it by paying digitally? Because if somebody's buying the Nintendo Switch 2 as a new console, they're going to want, that new different game, or that their choice to buy Breath of the Wild for a second time and have it be different on the cartridge, not downloading a patch. So, whenever you bring in one idea, a couple other things spin off. So that's kind of what I'm toying inside. And regarding like the OLED, Tears of the Kingdom model, does that play anything into, a delay of Nintendo Switch 2? I don't think so in that case. I think they're kind of independent. Nintendo was going to release this Tears of the Kingdom, Nintendo Switch OLED model when they were, and they already have plans for the next system. And however long that might be, they're not really in a rush, because the system's still selling in its 6th year, like a year 3 generation platform. It sold another 20 million this calendar year, and that's crazy.
Yeah, Yeah,
But I
it's interesting though, because it seems like the talk between the Switch 2 and the stuff has gotten so interesting. I've been name dropped on bigger channels. I think, I don't know, I got a verification check mark, and all of a sudden people want to name drop me. People want to name drop me in their videos, saying that I'm the reason why Switch 2 isn't coming. Or look at this guy, he's saying all this stuff against Switch 2 or against the Switch Pro. No, I ain't saying any of that, guys. What I'm saying is that a lot of these people that are perpetually wrong about everything with Nintendo always got something to say every single time there's something, like they got some, and they're perpetually wrong. It's better to listen to people that are, right when it comes to Nintendo a lot of the time. So that's all I'm doing, guys. I'm just warning people that are just wrong all the time. Hey, don't look at me as some type of super fan that only says things that's positive or what. No, that's not it. What it comes down to is that I'm someone who studies, and I've looked at, and I know what I'm good at. And I'm good at evaluating Nintendo. That's why I don't be making any predictions with Microsoft and Sony, because I don't be evaluating them like that. I play their games, I have their systems, but I evaluate Nintendo more. I do it in depth, So that's really what it comes down to. Like, it's not like I don't want there to be a better system, and I think you guys can speak on this too if you want. If not, we can move on to the next thing, or we can talk about some other stuff. But it's not like I don't want there to be another system. That's great. If there was a system in 2021 with Metroid Dread, I would have bought it if there was a Switch Pro or whatever the case is. What I'm trying to say is that we shouldn't be expecting or anticipating, and what we say on social media does not affect how fast the next system comes or anything like that. What you want and what's going to happen are two separate things, because we don't affect what's going down with the sales numbers right now. Like, if Nintendo Switch was selling bad, like some people were trying to make you seem to believe that it was, then yeah, maybe there would be something I'd be more. But the truth is, and what the truth is that it's selling incredibly well. Even if it didn't sell as good as last year or the year before, it does not matter. It's selling incredibly well, and it's selling better than a lot of the systems that are currently on the market. It's the market leader in many different areas. So that's why I'm saying, well, they don't have to do anything. So what we say here isn't going to affect them, because they have a large amount of systems that are being released and that are selling. That's really all it comes down to. If they release something new, heck, I want something new, that'd be great. I'm just saying we got to separate. I think sometimes content creators do a bad job of separating what they want and what's actually going to happen based on facts and evidence. That's the problem. That's where you get into people, name calling and stuff like that. But I don't know. Did you guys want to expand upon that at all? Paul, do you want to go? Or Stealth, whoever wants to go.
I have something to chime in. I think as much as people want it to be new, don't rush it either. Right now Nintendo, it took their time mastering HD development going into that Wii U. It was a rough start. In Nintendo Switch, it was their second HD console. They were able to fill in these little gaps with Wii U games so it was less noticeable. Let them have a solid launch for the Nintendo Switch 2 where it makes an impact. Don't release it now just because a small percentage of the community is clamoring for one with only one launch game and have a 7-month gap. Kind of like you said in one of your recent streams, be ready that you've got a new Nintendo Switch 2 game coming out once every couple of months for that first year. Have some things in the pipeline that you could tease down the road. I'd rather have that stronger Nintendo. So if that means waiting longer for a successor console, give me that. I'm happy with the Nintendo Switch 2 library. We still have Fire Emblem Engage. Like, that's as hyped as you could be 7 years almost into a system's life. Well, almost the 6-year anniversary mark. As any time, like it's a big game coming out, and we don't even know if it's the true last year. So let me enjoy the Nintendo Switch library, release good first-party games, keep the third-party stuff coming along, and keep cooking in the oven those NS2 titles. I'm in no rush. As much as I want to buy new hardware, like you said, take your time, make it ready, and make it so that there's no droughts. Consistent. I'd say.
Anything you add to that, Stealth, or do you feel differently? It's all good. I don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, what I felt was disingenuous about that conversation was, the insinuation that all of a sudden Switch games aren't performing well, so we need a successor. A lot of Switch games have never performed well. Breath of the Wild chugged. on Switch. So you know, I'm in no rush either.
But isn't that
And
more of a
really, it's all
reason?
about the
I think that's what people are saying. Sorry to interrupt you, but it's like more of a reason to bring out something because Breath of the Wild had some instances where, like, I think the forest area was like the biggest
yeah,
problem. They did update it where certain areas that did chug, they kind of smoothed it out a little
yeah,
bit after launch, where it was a lot better. But maybe some people are thinking that's the reason why, is since that did happen for a launch game.
yeah. The point is, it's like most people just don't care about the performance stuff. They just don't. Um, they care about the games and how fun they are and stuff like that. So it's like I'm kind of in the same way of thinking as you guys. I'm in no rush. The important thing is that the successor has like a great reveal event. With as many heavy hitters as the Switch reveal event had, which if you recall had Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Shin Megami Tensei 5 and Octopath Traveler and Splatoon 2. There were million sellers all over that reveal event.
Oh yeah, like almost
So,
every single one except for like the No More Heroes.
yeah.
I'm trying to think back to that event. Like almost
And
every
Arms
single,
Arms was there, One Two Switch.
yeah.
It
Oh,
was like a very strong reveal event looking back. People didn't think so then. People thought it was like a disaster, but it really wasn't. So like Switch 2 needs to have a pipeline like that. And maybe it doesn't start with Zelda. Maybe it starts with 3D Mario as the launch title this
mhm.
time. But then, or Mario Kart, quite frankly, which is probably the biggest launch title that you can have.
Yeah,
But they need that like every month or every 2 months. Okay, this is what's coming. Breath of the Wild launching with Switch was important, but what was even more important was the next month was Mario Kart.
yeah,
Um, and then the next month was a bunch of other stuff, and then there was Mario plus Rabbids that first year too. So yeah, the important thing is they don't rush it, and they make sure they have like a good pipeline of games. And honestly, like the third party support is going to be there a lot stronger. There's going to be a lot less convincing right away. Like all the Japanese third parties are going to be on board right away, just because of how dominant Switch has been for 6 years. So like that's going to be less of a problem.
yeah. Yeah, I can see that as well, that being far less of a problem. Because if you look at like with the Switch, it seems like a lot of them were like they didn't even say kinda. They even flat out said it. Like Bandai Namco, many other
Yeah.
Japanese developers were like, well, we're taking a look. I think Koei Tecmo was like, no, we believe in it. Koei Tecmo was like, yeah, we believe in it. So they
And
have their stuff
even
ready.
Square, yeah, and even Square was like, "Oh, we believe in it." NIS believed in it,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
even Pokemon Company, the president was like, "We're not sure."
yeah,
And
that's true.
then now Pokemon sold like 100 million units on Switch, so like they're not gonna be that hesitant again.
Yeah, absolutely not. I know the Pokemon Company does want there to be like an install base before they drop their first game. Like they want there to be like they
Yeah,
want at least like 40 million or something like that, or 25 to 30 million before they drop that first game. So we'll probably have to maybe wait for a Pokemon game. In terms of like a new Pokemon game, I mean, they might do as like a Let's Go or something like that. I think they might have that, or there's like I said, I think there'll be backwards compatibility or whatever the case is. But I don't know, man. I think it's interesting. But yeah, I mean, I think that these games, I think people don't realize because some people in the chat were like, "Oh, well, what's the rush? What do you mean rush? It's been 7 years or 6 years." It's like, yeah, understandable, but this type of stuff takes multiple years. Look at how long it
yeah,
took for Xbox and PlayStation to come out from the last generation, and look at what they launched with. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't have a consistent flow of
yeah,
games throughout, and they still probably could have waited another year or so before they launched. Microsoft absolutely could have waited another year, even though it took that long to get from uh, eighth gen to ninth gen. So I think that for any amount of time that it takes for you to do this, any I think developer or producer would say, yeah, we could have used some more time. I don't think 7 years. They don't obviously they're not they don't have everything grounded in 7 years in terms of what they're going to do. It's only within the last few years they start thinking, okay, serious about what the tech is going to be, what we're going to use, all that type of stuff. Because technology advances over from when the Switch first started all the way up until now. I'd say it's almost completely different when it comes down to the options available and things like that. So yeah, man. Um, So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. With this Switch 2 talk and all that stuff, man. But anyway, let's move on. Paul, do you have anything to add, or did you want to move on to the next topic, dude?
Maybe last question of this. I don't know. If you're going to come back to it later. Do you have a launch game idea for Nintendo Switch 2? Because I have two kind of hopes, maybe wants. I don't know. I think Mario Kart 9 and Metroid Prime 4. Metroid Prime 4, November 2024 as a launch title for Nintendo Switch 2. Still comes out on Nintendo Switch to capitalize on the 140 million install base. And Mario Kart 9, also, backwards compatible, truly showcasing the visual prowess of NS2, but capitalizing once again on that install base of 50 million Mario Kart 8 players that are ready to, continue on the old system, if that is the case. That's assuming the system comes out in November of 2024. That's kind of my prediction for what it's worth.
Okay.
Anything to add?
Yeah, Mario Kart for me. I just think that Mario Kart, and yeah, like a cross-gen game, maybe like a Metroid Prime, like a little 1-2, casual and core punch.
This January will be the 4th anniversary of that Metroid Prime 4 delay announcement.
Man,
which is crazy.
That's crazy.
January 25th, I think.
It needs to be incredible. I'll say that. With that, all that development time, man, like it's got to be something incredible, Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mario Kart's the big one, but like, you talk about the future expansion pass right away, and you don't wait 5 years to talk about that. But yeah, I mean, Mario Kart is Nintendo's biggest series, arguably, right now. So yeah, I think that's probably the big one. But that's like the multiplayer one.
It is the biggest series. It is.
Yeah, and then you want like a big single player game, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. Maybe it could be a 3D Mario.
Yeah. Yeah, 3D Mario. There's been talk about 3D Mario. There's been talk about Donkey Kong. There's been talk about quite a number of different things, when it comes down to it. So yeah, interesting. Yeah, I think a lot of people, like I said, obviously as fans, they don't really look into the other side of it, and it shapes opinions, and that's okay. Fans can be fans. I kind of look at it in because I've been around for so long covering this stuff. I've seen how Nintendo just gets stuff out, and it's like, okay, well, here you go. Oh, third party, and it always irks me. And when people say third party, when people just rush to say third party, it's like, that's not what people are buying Nintendo for. Like, why do we got to go over this every single freaking time? People are not buying Switch majority for third-party games. Like, you're not going to drop your PlayStation and drop your Xbox if Switch 2 has, I don't know, Scarlet Nexus or something like that. And, now it has this third-party game. Now it's the system to buy. Like, I don't understand why people consistently peddle this trash to their viewers. With people with lots of subscribers, when there's no evidence, there's like zero evidence that major Western third-party sells systems at any high clip or rate. Like, there's nothing that I can even point to. The only third-party games that you can point to, Minecraft, that would be like the only thing maybe that you can really look at and say, okay, yeah, that game did incredible. Maybe people are buying it for that. Outside of that, it's tough to say. Like, it's all Monster Hunter Rise, or it's like, if third-party games. What else? Momotaro in Japan.
Konami has.
I mean, the first year of Switch didn't have a lot of big third-party games at all.
Until the end. It wasn't until the very end. Skyrim, Doom, Resident Evil. Those games kind of came in at the very end of the year. But I mean, Mario Odyssey launched in October. Everyone was buying this. It's like, oh snap! I'm getting Mario Odyssey. Mario Odyssey outsold all those third-party games combined times 3. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'll never understand this logic. There's no evidence. Usually you look at like a software to hardware ratio to see what's actually pushing units, and like when a system launches, how much does it sell, with it. And it's like every single time that we see a big game, overall, it's like it always moves the software, or it's evergreen. Legend of Zelda, Mario Odyssey, Animal Crossing, Mario Kart, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Pokemon Legends Arceus, even Kirby. I mean, there's no third-party games that even do that right, with the exception of, like I said, maybe Minecraft, Monster Hunter
Yeah.
Rise, and Momotaro in Japan. That's just only Japan
Yeah.
for that Momotaro game. And even then, I think that's just people who have the Switch. I don't think that's like a large amount of people, the influx of people who picked it up, you know?
Yeah, I know Monster Hunter Rise is, I think, the #1 third-party game on Switch, and that's like over 10 million at this point. But there's a huge gap between Monster Hunter Rise and all the other third parties.
Yeah.
Um,
I think Minecraft is like somewhere up there. They haven't given us any sales numbers though. Minecraft would
Yeah.
be the only other game that even be comparable in terms of a third party game with Monster Hunter Rise, but they don't give numbers for Minecraft. But that game sells really good on Switch, but I don't know.
Mario Rabbids.
Mario
Kingdom
Rabbids,
Battle.
yeah, Mario
That's
Rabbids.
Mario IP, so it's kind of
Yeah, Mario in
cheating a little
there.
bit.
so it's just interesting. I know that third party helps. I mean, obviously you want that extra, great. I mean, I love the Japanese support and I love some of the big games that come over. But I mean, at the end of the day, like Nintendo needs to make sure that they have their first party games ready. I'm just terrified of the 3DS and Wii U launch where they're like, oh yeah, here's the third party, here's Street Fighter and all this stuff, and it was like, yeah, we don't care. Like. It's like,
Nothing else.
Here's Street Fighter, here's Dead or Alive, here's Tekken, here's all these really cool third-party games, and everyone's like, yeah, where's Mario 3D Land? Where's Mario Kart? Like, that's really what the price drop and 3D Land and Mario Kart. Man, if Nintendo did not have 3D Land and Mario Kart for the 3DS that year, at the end of the year, ooh, things might have been rough for the 3DS. Might have been rough. Wii U launched with a bunch of third-party games. What happened to it? It got absolutely cooked afterwards. So I don't know.
Took 7 months to get Pikmin 3.
Yeah, that's too long. You know what? Yeah, that's that gap was just that first 7-month gap absolutely killed momentum, man. Like you can't have that. But there was third-party games launching. There was like a Need for Speed game. There was like Lego City. There was like third-party games.
Yeah.
Nobody cared.
They sold in the dozens,
Nobody cared when people were like, yo, where the hell is my Mario Kart? Where's my Legend of Zelda Wind Waker? Like, where's my first party games? Why do I gotta wait half a year plus to get some more first party games on this piece?
True.
All right, well, let's go to move on to the next topic here. And that is the Metroid F-Zero. Well, the F-Zero was today.
That was today.
Yeah, F-Zero was today. I think shout out to my boy Nate the Hate, fellow Spawncast member. He talked about that. He feels that it's coming back in 2023. I didn't watch the video though. I did not watch the video, so I don't know what context it was. I don't know if he was saying in context of it is like he thinks or he's heard something. So I'm gonna need the chat that watched it to let me know. But what we do know is that there was a verified the return of the verified Reddit users. I remember this was the thing with the Switch, the verified Reddit users. So the return of the verified Reddit users. But this guy apparently has some clout because he told a moderator before Tears of the Kingdom, "Are you guys ready for some Zelda tears or something like that?" So he got that right, and he's gotten a number of other things right, and he's super mysterious. Dude is super sneaky. He does not say anything. Like, he does not say anything to people or anything like that, He doesn't do anything like that. He just emails or he just messages the moderators on Reddit and the gaming leaks and rumors and then calls it a day. So he says that, are you primed? The hint today was, or recently was, are you primed and ready? So people are obviously talking that, Metroid Prime. So that's where that comes from. So thoughts, boys and girls. There's just boys here. Thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. There's just gentlemen here. Thoughts. What do you think, Paul? I need to hear this from you.
I think it's going to sync up really well with that January 25th announcement that Metroid Prime 4, here's an update on it, maybe. But first, let us show you. It'll be like that Bayonetta 2 getting ported, but here's a little glimpse of Bayonetta 3. I think we're going to get a January mini Nintendo Direct where whether it's game-specific Direct, which would be for Metroid Prime, or as a part of a mini Direct, or I did a little bit of research, and 7 out of the last 12 years have had a Direct of some sort occupy February. But January is also pretty popular, so I think something's going to happen in January, and I think Metroid Prime is going to be a part of that close to that 4-year anniversary mark of when Metroid Prime 4 was announced that it was going to be delayed, and we will get. I'm not going to go bold and say I'm going to shave my head bald too. We're going to have a whole bunch of bald YouTubers soon if we all do this.
Jeff rest in peace is Jeff Grubb's hair, by the way.
Nintendo's watching, and they're like, you know what? We're gonna call your bluff. You're gonna be bald. You're gonna be bald. That's why they're doing that. That's why they're delaying it. No, just kidding.
No, dude, they might be, man. Like,
we'll show you guys. So you really think Advance Wars is coming out? You're gonna be bald next. Like, I think it's time. I think Metroid Prime. I found out something. I don't know any kind of game, but somebody told me recently that expect something in the realm of some type of a Nintendo announcement sooner than later. And that's when I looked back at this thing of like, well, February, January, when could it be? So part of it is wishful thinking. Part of it is just reading what I've read and something that I've heard. So something I think is coming in January. I think Prime is going to be shown some type of HD remake and maybe a little glimpse of, here's an update on Metroid Prime 4. It's been 4 years. You guys deserve it. Enjoy. I don't know. A lot of this wishful thinking. It's hard not to be biased because I'm a fan and I want it. But enough things have lined up that I think it's time.
All right.
That's what I've got.
Nice.
Hope so.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, based on what I've privately heard, Metroid Prime, the remake is absolutely real. But Nintendo has a tendency to hold on to games and slot them into months when they strategically want to. So, Jeff is probably right. He just made a bad decision, putting a date on it. Because you can't. Nintendo will hold on to a game for a year. That's what they did for Fire Emblem Engage. People were teasing me that game privately, and I wasn't picking up what it was until they actually announced it, over a year before they actually released it.
Yeah, it leaked.
It leaked
summer of last year.
Yeah, but people
Yeah.
people were privately talking about it.
Yeah.
Well before then too.
Yeah.
So I absolutely believe that the Metroid Prime game is coming. With regards to F-Zero, Nate's been talking about it, and I think there's someone else talking about it too, where he also said that F-Zero was coming, but don't get too excited about it, which people have taken to believe it's not a new game, but it's going to be a deluxe port of GX, which would still be exciting for some people. But it's not going to be, and I think I don't know if Nate's touched on that too, but it doesn't sound like it's a brand new F-Zero. It's going to be a deluxe port.
I think F-Zero fans will take that. I think they will be ecstatic because that's the best F-Zero game, right?
Yeah.
And if they add online multiplayer, I've been hearing F-Zero fans say, "Well, that's all we need." Okay? So I want to say this. For everybody I've been hearing people, you guys better buy that crap. I know I'm going to buy it. But if you ever want F-Zero to continue, this is your opportunity. You guys better be buying that. We'll see, though. Yeah, F-Zero GX port would probably be pretty cool. If they just remixed it. Maybe they added a few new levels or some stuff, or they added some stuff to it. Almost like Pikmin 3. Pikmin 3 got a nice deluxe port where they added some new stuff to it. But even if they didn't, even if it was the same game, but it was just 1080p, 60...
Yeah, I mean... I could see them balancing the difficulty too, because that game was tough.
Yeah.
And that game was unapproachable for a lot of people, even then.
Yeah.
So yeah, they need to rebalance it. I don't see them adding a ton of content, but online, rebalance the difficulty, and things like that, quality of life stuff. I could see it happening. I'm really not an F-Zero fan. I think I've maybe this is gonna upset some people. The most F-Zero I played was the SNES launch game. That was it. I played that for 5 hours, and that's the most F-Zero I've ever played. So I'm not an F-Zero guy. So
F-Zero is one of those franchises that it blew your mind back in the day. That's what F-Zero did. F-Zero was because it was mode 7, right? So it was a mode 7 game back on the Super Nintendo. So if you played it I remember playing it like very close to when it launched. I remember my dad buying it for us, and I remember just being blown away by how awesome it was. Like the mode 7, like when you hit the ramps and all that. But I think for me, as my interest started varying, because like we started getting more complex games. Like we had NES, we had Final Fantasy and all that, but they were popular, but they weren't like mainstream like they are now. But as RPGs and more complex games started getting more mainstream, started getting localized more, my interest in holding down one button and racing on a track just started waning and waning and waning. So that's
as avid visitors of your stream, the both of us, we are well aware of how you feel about racing games.
Yeah, sorry guys, I'm not a huge fan of racing games anymore. Not a huge fan of racing. I don't know, man. It's just holding down. I mean, there's more to it than that. It's not just holding down one button. There's more.
I mean, I'm not going to expect that port to sell particularly. I mean, it's for the fans. It's just a goodwill kind of release. If it happens, and I have no reason to doubt it yet. Like I'm not like thinking about it every day about the possibility of it. Like it doesn't mean that much to me. But yeah, why not? I mean, Nintendo brings back stuff all the time. So it's not like completely outside like they brought back Kid Icarus after how many years?
Yeah.
10 years for 2D Mario, they brought that back. Donkey Kong Country, they bring things back when it makes sense. So, why not?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's all good. I don't know. We got people in here that are just putting all sorts of cat, man. Like now all of a sudden Switch games don't even hit 30 frames per second now. What am I doing in Splatoon? What am I doing in Smash Brothers? They run at like 5 frames per second apparently. That's why Switch 2 needs to happen tomorrow. All right. So what do you Paul, did you talk about F-Zero yourself or not?
No, I didn't, and I haven't heard any rumblings on that other than what everybody else kind of hears through the grapevine. And if that one's real too, all of a sudden we have a potentially really nice first half of the year. If F-Zero and Metroid are part of that first 6 months, and if they drop, did I say Advance Wars? No. Metroid Prime, F-Zero, Advance Wars, Fire Emblem Engage, Tears of the Kingdom. If those 5 games are the first
Bayonetta game too that Nintendo's publishing. They're publishing Bayonetta Origins as well.
Is Bayonetta like a March game?
Yeah, it's March 17th or something.
17th.
Yeah.
17th, I think.
6 games in the first half a year. Like if that's the case, that's a really powerful first half. And even if not, that's a solid 6 games, to spread throughout the year before knowing any more. But I'll go with F-Zero being real in some capacity, whether it's GX or something new and small or some combination game package. Could it be like a Super Mario 3D All-Stars kind of approach where it's a few F-Zero games in it? No one has suggested that, but possibility.
Well,
but
they have F-Zero on the Super Nintendo and F-Zero on the 64 on the Nintendo Switch Online, right?
Oh.
So they do have that. You can play that with online multiplayer in both of those, right? Or no, the first game doesn't have online, or the first game doesn't have multiplayer.
Oh yeah.
First game single player.
Yeah, first game single player. But the second game you can play online with other people and enjoy it. I remember going back and playing it one night. And I'm like, and I think I played it for about an hour, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And I played the hell out of this game back in the day. Like I got it on this N64. And I remember just really loving it so much. And then I'm like, heck yeah, back to F-Zero. And I remember playing it on this where I'm like, oh, never mind. I'm good.
It's good, but GX is a lot better.
Yeah, GX is a lot better. GX is so much better, so much better. So yeah, it's all.
When
good.
do you think it comes out? If it's real, do you think it's a first half? Do you think it's a second half of the year?
I mean, I think Metroid Prime could be April. Just because that game is rumored to be done. So Nintendo can slot it into a month where they don't have anything, and right now that's April. I could see F-Zero being like one of their E3 Direct kind of games, it would get people very excited, I think. So I think they might hold that back until, later in the year.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. All right, so that's that. Let's go and let's get into a little bit more when it comes down to what happened this week. So we've got New Year's, obviously that's dope. Metroid, and then we talk about like Nintendo Direct. Now, Paul Gale, I know you put up a graph. I used it on my video recently. When do you guys think the next Nintendo Direct is going to happen? You know, when do you think that's going to happen though?
Well, so the last 2 years it's happened in February. The year, well, the year before that we had a mini, just because of COVID, and then the year before that, I think it was February again, or it might have been January. I think like 3 out of the last 4 years were February. And so that's kind of where like I've always been thinking like it's gonna be in February. But if it's in January, I wouldn't complain. But they always have like a big early year direct to just kind of lay out some stuff. So I think it'll be February. I don't think it's gonna like direct to March.
Okay. All right. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, the safe bet is like a early to mid February proper Nintendo Direct. Until just recently, I heard from somebody saying expect something sooner than later, and that's when I went into the whole, well, what could soonest be, and in some capacity. So that's where I'm leaning towards something small in January. Now, that small thing could be a Fire Emblem Engage Direct specifically, like a little 12-minute mini Nintendo Direct for that game, or it could be some type of other mini that, talks about several. So, there are years, if you look back at that list, and that's not even all of them, there are some years where Nintendo went like February, March, April, mini, direct. That's also when they were clawing to find an audience in the Wii U era. They were just dropping videos, dropping free games like all the time, just to be like, hey, people, look, we still got stuff in the pipeline. But Nintendo's not that desperate right now. So I'm going to say February, but I think something is small coming in January. Could be wrong. But
Okay. January, huh?
I think next month, even if it's like I said, just something Engage for Fire Emblem, and that would be it.
Like a Fire Emblem Engage Direct.
Right, kind of like they had with Xenoblade Chronicles X, or like the Monster Hunter Rise third-party Nintendo Mini Direct for just Monster Hunter Rise. So it might be wishful thinking like, oh yeah, January is going to be the big proper one. I don't think so.
But there's something.
I'll go with, I think something.
Okay. Cool. All right, sounds good. I mean, for me, I think yeah, very close. Like, I think that February is probably going to be it. But they have, like you guys said, they have a pretty solid first half lineup between, Kirby, Fire Emblem, Bayonetta, the what's it called? Some of the third party games, Octopath Traveler 2, Atelier, some of those games that are coming out, also with obviously Legend of Zelda. So yeah, I think that February might be a good month based off of what you said there, in your post and what Nintendo's done in the history beforehand. So yeah, we'll see. Nintendo Direct is probably coming. We got to get past this year, New Year's, so it's gonna be 2023, which is crazy. 2023. So
Pixel remaster coming out first half.
Pixel remaster. I think it's
It's
before
on
March.
everything, but still.
Before March 31st, they said for Pixel remaster.
Cool.
Yeah, and Nintendo basically had one last direct this month. They had, I mean, their indie event where they split up 5 days of announcements was basically an Indie World Direct, just split up. And so they had 3 Indie Worlds this year and 3 directs. 3 main directs, and I'm including like the mini that they had. And then that's usually what they do. They have like 2 or 3 of each variety in like the Pokemon Presents. So we're definitely, so we're like refreshing that whole cycle. We're now next up is going to be in either like the main direct, and there's going to be a Pokemon Presents probably on Pokemon Day. And that's in February. So that's usually how it happens. And then like the first indie direct isn't until a little bit later. But yeah, we're definitely having something. I always see people like assuming the worst, that there's not going to be anything, but there's always directs now. That's just what Nintendo does. So there's going to be
Wait,
something.
who thinks that there's not going to be a direct?
You'd be surprised how many people say that to me.
Yeah, you're
Come
you're
on.
you're right. That's true.
Come on.
There's people that say all sorts of cap all the time and all sorts of weird stuff. You're right. Shout outs to Abasi Dyer. Thank you for the $5 donation, man. And he says Nintendo has master good games and good gameplay with no huge story. Mario alone has the last mascot of the '90s, really. Sonic is still around. There's still mascots from the '90s, so it's not just. I mean, there's not as many because companies aren't trying to make all the mascots. So I think that's what you're kind of you're trying to say there. But I think that in terms of like story and stuff like that, adding, I think that Fire Emblem, obviously, that's very good story. Xenoblade is a game that has very good story as well. So they've kind of incorporated that a little bit more in terms of having pretty dope stories. I think Metroid Dread story is pretty good for how minimalist it can be at times. I think it's really good, and the ending is quite possibly one of the greatest endings I've ever seen in a video game in my life. Yeah.
And I'll say, like, without getting into that controversy, Scarlet and Violet have probably the best story of any Pokemon game by far, in my opinion. So I think that was very good.
It's pretty good. I think the last time that I really enjoyed a Pokemon story was like Black and White 2 or something like that, where they really just focused on, like, it was all like, here's the game that but the story's even better. So like Black and White, that has a pretty good one. And I also like Pokemon Legends is pretty dope, and how Pokemon Legends connects to Scarlet and Violet, it's like kind of mind blowing, but it's pretty dope to see stuff like that as well. So yeah. So it's all good. It's all good. Sorry. So we're gonna take questions too, of course. So if you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We're more than happy to take some questions before we head out for tonight. So let's see here. Let me see. I haven't seen any questions so far. Somebody was complaining about saying that I don't know what I'm talking about, bro. Stop and stuff like that. But he already left, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, let's see here. Do you guys see Koei Tecmo announces new action RPG, Fate Samurai? It looks cool. Yeah, I did see that. I'll probably have it in a video tomorrow or on Monday. Yeah, it looks cool. I know, Stealth, didn't you tweet it out too, Stealth?
Yeah, I tweeted about that too. Game announcements on Saturday are pretty rare. And game announcements like the last day of the year are pretty rare too.
Yeah.
So that was kind of just surprising that, it kind of just shadow dropped all of a sudden there. They didn't show any gameplay. It was like a CG it was a CG trailer, but no gameplay. So I'm curious to see that. Happy to see it's a global, simultaneous, worldwide release, which is always appreciated. So yeah, that's it's worth keeping an eye on. It's definitely worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Hallows, I don't know how to say the name. Says, you think we'll see new Donkey Kong game this year or 2023? There was a rumor about a new Donkey Kong game. I just don't know if it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, there was the rumor that the 3D Mario team was working on a Donkey Kong, but then like the rumors couldn't get they couldn't get the story straight if it was a 2D Donkey Kong or a 3D Donkey Kong. They didn't know. So I'm like, if the rumors can't even get it straight, I'm not thinking about it until it happens. But yeah, I would love a new Donkey Kong.
Okay. What about you, Paul? What do you think about that, or did you want to answer? You don't have to if you don't want to.
On Donkey Kong specifically?
Yeah.
Something that, it's another one that's just been rumored for so long. 2D, 3D, kind of like Stealth said. I hope it comes out. I think it's been time. Tropical Freeze sold better on Nintendo Switch than it did on Wii U. And, all of these games could look so much better built from the ground up on Nintendo Switch than on Wii U. I mean, it was just optimized. I think Donkey Kong will happen eventually, especially if, the rumors are true that a Donkey Kong movie is in the works to kind of segue off of the Super Mario Brothers movie. If that's accurate, then that's another perfect timing for Nintendo to kind of expand on Donkey Kong, new game, let things kind of cohesively roll into each other. So, yeah.
Okay.
I think it'll happen.
Sounds good. All right. Some people are asking who are these underneath me. I have their channels linked. That's Stealth 40K underneath me, and then to this side is is Paul Gale Network. So yeah, you guys can check out their channels. Um, there you go. Paul Gale donated through his own. That's the first ever. Says, will the Big N have Tears of the Kingdom Media Day? Paul Gale with the 199. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Paul Gale. Tears of the Kingdom Media Day. I think so. I think there's going to be a pretty big media hubbub surrounding it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll probably kick off like the Tears of the Kingdom blowout with a direct dedicated to that game, like a 30-40 minute direct. And then it'll just be like, okay, now we're ready to reveal it all. Because I think Nintendo's been able to show a lot more of the game than they've let on like over the last year or so.
Well, I meant a playable media day. As
Oh,
like in that other post that I wrote recently, I've been to E3 since 2000, and I was like, dang, I played a Zelda game at almost every E3 that had a Zelda game coming out that year. Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, the Wii U Zelda tech demo, Triforce Heroes, Breath of the Wild. Like so many E3s have a Zelda game that comes out later that year. This is the first, one of the first that I can think of in a long time. A Link Between Worlds, even, HD remake. So when would Nintendo fit in a playable media day for Tears of the Kingdom if there is going to be one? They might not have one. They might not need one because it's such a big game coming off of a sequel. But, will they and when? Some say maybe PAX East, maybe an event at Super Nintendo World, like a City Walk kind of like after the launch, after the opening for folks to come in. Do you think so, OJ? And do you think so, Stealth? A playable event?
I mean, I could see them releasing a demo on Switch.
oh, a
That would be
demo.
very popular.
Oh my goodness, that would crash the eShop.
Yeah.
That would just that eShop would be out, dude. That eShop would be out and down and out. It would tap. It would definitely tap out if they did that. That'd be cool though. I'd be down for it.
I think that's all they need. Like, I don't think they need a media day for that.
Hey, that'd be awesome. Either way, I don't care. I'm ready for the game, dude. Like I'm ready for I'm ready for Fire Emblem Engage. Like I'm super ready for that game, and I'm super ready for the Bayonetta game coming. Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom is like the game that I'm like super most excited for. So yeah. Let me get another question in here. There's a lot of questions, guys. I'll try to answer the ones that I haven't already made like 5,000 videos on. Let's see here. Gosh. Let's see. So Ronaldo Mario has a question, and he says, for both of you guys, what are your best game of 2022? Like your favorite game and then most disappointing game.
Favorite one, Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Okay. Disappointing.
I haven't. That's the one I was like, oh, that's kind of hard to figure out. But it wasn't a bad game. But Stray, I was looking forward to it. I mean, I adopted a dozen cats. I was looking forward to it, and then I devoted my life to Stray, and I was kidding. No, I have one cat. Okay.
You have to get ready for the cats.
No, Stray was a good game for what it's worth, but there's better indie games than that, in my opinion. But most disappointing, it wasn't even a bad game, but Horizon Forbidden West kind of came and went. It was good, but maybe I was hoping that this has got 5 years of development, kind of like Breath of the Wild did. Maybe this would be a close to a 10 out of 10 game. And like I said, I thought it was a great game, but just maybe I was hoping it would be on this level of quality and love. And I liked it a lot, but just maybe not disappointing, but not bad at all.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Stealth?
Yeah, I mean, I actually did tweet about like my top 10 games of the year a couple hours ago. So I have a bunch that I like. Triangle Strategy, Live Alive, Xenoblade 3. Kirby was really good this year. In terms of disappointments, and I only really just started playing it. But Sports Story. Golf Story, one of my favorite indie games of all time. And just something happened with Sports Story. It's just not as coherent. Kind of buggy too, and it's just not as fun. I found so far. So that's kind of, and everyone knows. I've been talking about Sports Story for years. And then that's kind of like the danger with indie games sometimes is, you really look forward to it and they disappear, they get delayed because of, the small teams, and then they come back and this is not the game that you thought it was going to be. And that's kind of been the case here so far.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, my game of the year, I had a video. Xenoblade was my game of the year. Most disappointing was Pokemon because it could have been all-time GOAT status if everything was just running better. It could have been, because it's still very fun. So it's so good, yet it had those issues. So it's a little bit disappointing that it did, because if it didn't, goodness gracious, because of how good the game is still super fun. So yeah, that's mine, at least. All right, let me get this next question because this guy keeps spamming it. And he says, "Is the next Nintendo console a handheld hybrid, or is it is a regular console? Since they want to add VR." I don't know about them wanting to add VR. I know there's been some patents and stuff like that, but I don't know how serious they are with it. I don't think I think it's a regular, not a regular. I think it's a hybrid. I think it's going to be a hybrid device. There's no reason for them to go back to a regular console, especially with the dynamics in Japan. It makes no sense to go back to a regular console. All you're doing is limiting your sales if you do that. So
Yeah, I mean, I
don't see
think
them doing that.
I think Pokemon Company would demand a
Yeah,
handheld component.
Portability
Like
in the
they
system.
would they would play like, hey, we're Pokemon Company card.
yeah.
And that.
Or I mean, if you don't want Pokemon support on I mean, that would be like, okay, well, we're just gonna make our game on mobile or something like that. like the next big Pokemon game is just gonna be like mobile, then maybe it'll be ported over, because the Pokemon Company never really supported Nintendo home consoles. Like all
With
the
side
games.
games, and they were terrible for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, they've never, like, mainline Pokemon games are usually like, if you see a mainline Pokemon game like a Battle Revolution or something like that, it was always done by an outside studio, or even like Gale of Darkness or Stadium. These games were not made with Game Freak, like, with them. I mean, yeah, they oversaw certain things, but it was not something that they developed on. They just don't. They always want to have that portable aspect because they feel that that's what their games are, built with. So I think that if you don't have a portable aspect, you lose the ability to get Game Freak's games on there. I remember even like I said, I think it goes back to like them just wanting there to be an install base and stuff. I think there was a big controversy back in the day. Pokemon Black and White 2, I think. Or was it Black and White? One of those two, where it launched on the DS instead of the 3DS. And they were like, well, look, man, the DS has a lot of, like
Black and
3DS is
white.
new. DS is like, they want a bunch of systems, and they want
Yeah.
their game to launch on something that's established and they know it's going to sell and it's doing great. So Game Freak's very peculiar with stuff like that. So yeah, I don't see Nintendo saying, "Oh yeah, screw hybrid," even though we just sold this many millions of systems. Let's do this instead. So yeah, I don't know, probably not. All right, let's see here. Let me see if I can get another question here. Shout out to the new subs tonight. Appreciate you guys subscribing to the channel. Mr. Davis has a question, but it's hard to understand what the question is. My sister, Poot Nam Games. Mr. Davis, can you repeat your question? Can you repeat your question, Mr. Davis? Louis says, I wish they would make a family system similar to Switch now, but with hybrid, handheld, and home console. I mean, they could, but that's a lot of manufacturing. Like, that's a lot of manufacturing to say, we're going to make a hybrid, we're going to home console, now we're going to make this. Like, you're putting yourself kind of out there in terms of chips and parts to get something like that done, to make that many devices. It's not easy. Look at Microsoft with the Xbox Series X and S. It's not something that's easily done. So, I don't think that's the best route for Nintendo, to be honest. That's just my own personal opinion. I don't think that's the best route to start splitting it up and start saying home console, now portable, now this. Like that's what they did before. And that led to issues. With the Wii U, whatever the case is, or not, sorry, 3DS, Wii U, whatever, GameCube, GBA. Like when you start splitting things up like that, and it doesn't use the same software, it might use the same software, but then you have to worry about how it runs on this and how it runs on that. Like I'm just not sure if that's the best course of action considering how popular the Switch is. I don't know. What do you think, Mr. Davis? What do you think, Paul Gale?
I think the form factor is still a hybrid, and if anything, if Nintendo wanted any kind of piece of the VR puzzle, just by including in every box, even if it's not cardboard, but a proper plastic goggle,
Oh, God, no.
20 bucks worth of plastic to include in it, and you would be able to guarantee to developers out there, 1-for-1, every single Nintendo Switch 2 owner has VR. So if you make your games with VR, you could have the option to not play it, but you could be guaranteed that it's not going to go to waste because everybody has it. The problem with this game requires expansion pack. Well, what if you don't have an expansion pack? This game requires an arcade fight stick to maximize the button presses. What if you don't buy that? And that's why VR's never been able to fully sell off. I mean, imagine if PlayStation couldn't do it. They couldn't include VR with every PS4 or PS5. The thing would be $900. But a very cheap alternate $20 piece of plastic to go into every Nintendo Switch 2 box, and you just same form factor, you strap it to your head, there you go. It's janky VR, but it's real. It still works. Maybe they won't do that, but if they wanted to, that's how you treat this as a catalyst. That's how you introduce it to everyone, by guaranteeing everyone's going to have the same controller, the same device from the start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, simple questions or simple answer. Same form factor, I think. It's going to be a hybrid. Will it have anything else in it too, or just be more powerful, better Joy-Cons, improved HD rumble, maybe that kind of thing?
Shout outs to Juice Man Bomb with the $5. And he says, OJ and crew, other than more power, what features would you like to see in the next iteration of Nintendo's console? Well, I think we just said better Joy-Cons.
I was kind of going there, yeah.
I would like to see better integration of some of the features that we're missing on the Switch. So the messaging, voice chat, that type of stuff. But what I'd really like to see would be really cool. Not only can you access it on your device, but also full integration with the smartphone. Right now they have very haphazard, but if you could fully integrate it to where you can control your dashboard, you can easily send messages, easily send invites back and forth, and it's super smooth. I think that would be dope. That would be super cool integration with it. So that's what I would like to see. I like to see full smartphone integration to where it's snappy and fast, and you can just control everything. You can send invites, you can easily send Discord, do whatever, whatever the case is. I'd like to see it all handled through that right there. So yeah, that would be the features that I would want to see added in.
Yeah, besides 100% backwards compatibility, which is probably the most important feature.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the eShop needs to be revamped.
Mm-hmm.
Why not do it the eShop is slow. There's not a lot of ways to search. So I think they could revamp that. I think that's what people would want and expect, kind of. But yeah, I mean, I just don't want Nintendo to put cardboard glasses in there.
I'm good on that.
That's high-end VR. Yeah, I mean, Nintendo doesn't need to do the VR thing.
I don't even shop on the eShop because that's why I say if they did full smartphone integration. Have you guys ever bought anything off the storefront? It's super fast and snappy. So I don't even buy my games off. I don't go on the eShop. I buy my games all off of just from mobile or on my PC. That's how I buy my games. And then it just downloads automatically on your system. That's what I do. Yeah. I don't even waste my time going on the eShop. So that's if they have full smartphone integration to where it's super easy and fast, even a PSN and Xbox, I do that on there too. Anytime that I want to download a demo, I don't go on there on my PS5, even though it's fast and everything. I just go on my smartphone on my PS app and just look through right there. It's even faster on here, and then it just boom, it beams right to your system. Bam, it's ready to go. But not everybody has that access though, or has a good smart. You would need a good, or at least a decent smartphone or whatever, good internet connection. But yeah, that's what I do. So that's why I want to see them integrate it like that. So that's for me at least. All right, shout outs to Underpowered Greg 3.0. He changed your name again. They let you change your name again, Underpowered Greg. Thank you for the $1.99. And he says, do you think Switch 2 will have a built-in camera? Good question. Paul, what do you think?
It'd be cool, but I don't think so. I think as smartphones have gone on more and more, most people have one, but could be cool if they want to make it more portable.
Worried about that camera, man.
I don't know.
Nintendo's worried about that camera. What people are gonna do, man? Oh man, they're worried about that camera. No, but like the old systems had like the DSi that had a camera.
It did.
Yeah, 3DS had a camera. You know, right? Yeah, it did. Face Raiders. Yeah.
Throw a camera in there. Throw Street Pass back in there.
Yeah. So I mean, it's possible. Nintendo's had some systems with the camera, so it's definitely possible.
As long as they don't do like a TV app again.
No more Nintendo TV. It looked cool.
That's
but
the
news.
Yeah.
That's the one TV remote I never lost though.
That's true.
Yeah,
it's
true.
so
big. I never lost it.
You can't lose it. That's true. If you lose your gamepad, you're intentionally trying to lose it.
Slip underneath.
Shout outs to Mr. Super with the $25. Biggest donation of the stream. Thank you so much for the 25. And he says, Happy New Year's 2023 and forever. Yo, thank you so much, Mr. Super. Thank you for the $25 donation. Yes, the Wii U gamepad also had a camera as well. So Nintendo, 3 straight systems in one way or another with cameras. And then with the Switch, they're like, nah. But it kind of has a camera, right? Like the Joy-Con with the...
Joy-Con.
Yeah, rock, paper, scissors. I don't know. Not really, but it kind of does. Not really. I think it just has like a sensor or whatever. I don't know what it is. Either way.
I don't think everyone is saying like the killer app of Switch 2 is going to be the camera.
Yeah. Yeah, people aren't worried about a camera.
I don't think it's high on the list of anybody's priorities.
No, probably not. What's up, Nintendo Prime? All right, J2 Blue. But thank you so much, Mr. Super. Thank you for the $25. You didn't put a question though. So if you have a question, just tag me. And J2 Blue says, do you think Nintendo will dip their toes in $70 games? Or do you feel that there'll be tiered prices, maybe 50, 60, 70, like they,
if like the graphics level of Switch 2 is at like PS4 Pro, where it's like it's not quite PS5, but they can still get PS5 games. Probably not. I could see them sticking to how it was. Like I don't think there's any way Switch 2 is going to be as powerful as PS5 and Xbox Series X.
No.
So I don't think so, and I think they'll see that as like a competitive advantage, to have their games cheaper. So I see them sticking to 60, honestly.
Interesting for sure. What about you, Paul Gale? What do you think?
We know that this system can handle bigger cartridges, but they just cost so much to make, right?
Yeah.
Cost is going to go down in time, but as the new system comes out, if it's backwards compatible, there could become that point where, 64 gigabyte beefy cartridges that hold big third-party games, because now that they're capable of handling it on Nintendo Switch 2 without a whole lot of compression. So you're getting at Street Fighter 6 or, that kind of title. I could see $70 games existing on the system. Maybe not from Nintendo themselves, but third parties being like, hey, we need that bigger cartridge so we could have it all on one, and we're going to charge 70. So, Nintendo's usually, aside from like the N64 and early cartridge era, they were kind of cheaper than the competition. Wii was $50 for games, and PS3 and Xbox 360 were 60 at the time. Wii U finally caught up and was 60. Now Nintendo Switch is 60, and you're just seeing PS5, Xbox Series get to 70. So I think Nintendo could be just that one step behind in terms of price. Like you said, stealth too, with a competitive edge. When that cartridge gets too big and you need the extra space, you're going to have to go up in size.
So it's going to be
70.
flexible. Maybe I think flexible is probably what they're going to do. If it's like a big 64 gigabyte game cartridge, yeah, they might tack on an extra 5 or 10, like a 64.99 or something, like that, cuz N64 was like that. Some games were just more expensive than other games. So maybe they go back to that. I mean, who knows. But we'll see.
I like that idea.
Yeah, we will see. Because even like right now, it's flexible, right? Like not every game is $60. Like WarioWare, Nintendo Switch Sports, Garage Game Builder. Most of the games are 60. Most of the big games are 60, but some of them are 50, some of them are 40, some of them are 30. So they do range in price. Michael Regan with the $10. Thank you so much for the 10, man. And he says the AR stuff was okay. I love the DS and 3DS families, but the Mario Kart physical RC card did it as an add-on, and that was amazing. No reason to have a camera. So there you go. No, he doesn't feel that there needs to be that. He likes the Mario Kart AR card. Thank you for the $10. Thank you for the comment. Appreciate that, man. So let's see here. Elemental Hero says everyone mentioned about the Nintendo Direct. Could the person that mentioned about Prime could we see it in the next 2 weeks with gameplay trailer and Prime Trilogy combined? Well, we talked about this before, and we all feel that there could be something like a Metroid Prime remaster. We're all kind of leaning more towards that than Prime Trilogy. But yeah, I think that there could be something within the next couple weeks. Maybe they have a tease of something, or but I think a lot of us feel that February is probably more of the date for, or the time period for when we could see some stuff with Metroid and all that. So, but you never know. Based off that one guy, man, he looks like he usually talks about stuff right before it happens. So you never know. Let's see here.
And we still got a little bit more time before midnight. So
yeah. We definitely have time. So yeah, we can hang out.
It's not over for Metroid this year.
Tonight, it's gonna happen.
Nintendo at midnight. Hey, you weirdos. Hey, you Metroid heads. Here you go.
Well, I mean, if this was Square Enix who announced the Pixel remasters on console and open pre-orders at 1 a.m. Eastern time,
they said
if it was Square, they would do it.
Bots be damned. Bots were in shambles. Bots were in shambles. People couldn't get their bots ready to steal all the pre-orders. I was able to.
Can you imagine like the salt if Nintendo actually did it on Japan time, open pre-orders, and they were gone by the morning?
Oh man, there'd be 15 videos talking about how terrible they are. The 30, 50 videos. It'd be great. Like I said, make sure you guys mention me. All the people that don't, make sure you guys mention me in your videos. All the people. Shout out to everybody who's mentioning me. They go off my Twitter page. I like it. It's fun. I said, you get that verified check, all of a sudden people want to mention it. It's more clout or something. I don't know. Let's see here. I think I missed some questions earlier. So let me go back up to see if I missed some questions here. Okay, so Mr. Davis, he clarified his question. He said, Platinum Games, do you want to see some more games come out in 2023, or will there be more games from Platinum? Well, we do know about one of the games, and that is the Bayonetta game. We do know that they have Project GG, which is another game. We do know that there's other games that they've been working on too. There could potentially be a new Nier game that's in development. And you never know about Astral Chain 2. So yeah, what do you guys think? Any Platinum Games goodness outside of what we already know about Bayonetta and Project GG?
I'm hoping Astral Chain 2 is in development. That has to be next, in my opinion. And really, that's as much up to Nintendo as it is Platinum Games, because Platinum Games will say yes to whatever Nintendo wants to do, because to Platinum Games, Nintendo is like an open wallet that they can dive, right into. But yeah, I'm hoping that's next. I mean, I don't as Kamiya said, they've planned Bayonetta up to Bayonetta 9. So I'm not worried about that series continuing, really, but yeah, I'm thinking Astral Chain 2 is next, and we might even get that announcement next year.
Okay, yeah. They are working on a sequel to Daemon X Machina, so that's already been confirmed. But that's not Platinum Games.
That's not Platinum
Yeah,
Games.
that's not. Somebody
That's
somebody asked
Marvelous.
about a sequel to David X Machina, so that's already being worked on. Um, I do want to read this next question because I think some people have unrealistic expectations. So I do want to talk about this. And he says, Jazz Rock says, tend to think the next Nintendo console will be capable of 4K, 8K, and capable of running games up to 120 frames per second. How feasible is this for a new system? For a hybrid, it's not very feasible because you have a very powerful hybrid like the Steam Deck, for example, and that doesn't do anywhere near what you're asking. And for the highest model of Steam Deck, that's like $700. Like you want like a SSD, you want everything to be super nice. The lowest model is $400 for a Steam Deck, and they lose money on that. And they lose money on every single Steam Deck at that 400. Like Gaben, who's a very rich man, was like looked defeated when he talked to IGN about that $400 model. So
Battery life isn't great, and Nintendo cares about the battery life.
yeah.
So like you can't have it all.
If you have that 120 frames per second on a portable system, it's going to fry your system alive in your hands, or the battery life is going to be almost nothing. Like you're not going to be able to get 4K and that type of thing portably. Now, if you dock it, I don't feel Nintendo's going to have a system that's strong enough to be able to run stuff like that because the PS5 even struggles to do that. That's not a very common thing on every PS5 game. 120 frames per second and 4 to 8K. I mean, capabilities is one thing, but actually doing it is another thing. So I highly doubt that's going to be feasible for Nintendo. I mean, I would probably say maybe an upscaled or checkerboard 4K or DLSS simulated 4K with certain games, and 60 frames per second would probably be, what they'd probably target, but yeah, that doesn't seem very feasible. Considering Steam Deck is a thing, and that's a pretty advanced piece of tech, and it's not even close to that. I mean, that's an 800p screen on there, so I don't know. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, depending on, I mean, the later the system comes out, the stronger it's going to be, which is also one of the reasons why I'm not clamoring for it to drop now. I'd rather them take time because, one, I want the software to be ready, and two, I'd rather them, wait a little bit longer so that RAM's a little bit more affordable. They could get the teraflops down and see, oh, this is how much we need, and processing parts get cheaper in time. So I think best case scenario is like by November 2024 you could get something like a PS4 Pro level power with the modern conventions of an Xbox Series S, and maybe you could release this thing for $400. And that's kind of like a best case scenario by November 2024. But does Nintendo want to have a $400 machine, or do they want to stick to that $300 point? And then that gets into thinking, what if they released two SKUs? One without a dock for $100 less. You could use your old Nintendo Switch dock, or it has to be a Nintendo Switch OLED dock. And then that way they could save on, like, hey, if you already have a dock or two around the house, and if you just want to buy, the platform, you could stick it in that old dock. And maybe that's a way how to have a dockless console at launch, working with the older stuff. I don't know. Power wise though, I don't think it's going to be too much of a 4K push, but more of a DLSS approach, like you said. Use smart technology to get there instead of raw processing, raw horsepower, because it's more affordable and less impact on the battery life. Use smarter tech.
Yeah, Nintendo's never gonna release a $600 to $800 system. That's just ridiculous. Just play PC gaming at that point. You should just play PC game. I'm not trying to be mean, my boy, and thank you for the tune-in tier, but there's no way there's no way that type of system would even be feasible in today's market in terms of selling. Like that's not a feasible. I don't want Nintendo to do that because that system wouldn't sell. A $600 to $800 system would not sell. Normally, parents would be like, no. They'd just be like, absolutely not. So
Nintendo's the only system right now that's selling multiple units per household. If you have a few kids, you're buying a DS Lite or a Nintendo Switch Lite or a Nintendo Switch because they're affordable and they're that impact or the portable nature of it. That's attractive for different rooms to take on the go for car rides. They have their stranglehold on the market. Like not even Steam Deck does what Nintendo Switch does, because like you said, the cheapest model is $400 and it still doesn't come with a dock for TV use. You have to buy something in addition.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't think Nintendo goes backwards from here.
Nintendo's just not the company that's going to sit there and make some type of super tech system. They're just not that. Like, that's not what it's for. There's other companies that do that. You know, you have Valve with Steam Deck. You know, if you want a $700, $800 system, that's the highest end. It's there for you. You know, that's. But Nintendo's not looking at it that way, and I don't want them to look at it that way, because that's a way to just really end your business. That's a way, because people won't buy that. So I do want great tech. And I do want them to advance and be better, but at the same time, I don't want them to release something that expensive, because that's not going to sell. And there's nobody in the market that would be like, yeah, that's a good idea, you know. So yeah, no, I'm not watching college football right now. I'm doing this podcast. Let's see here. Let's see here. I can see the next Switch console about half as powerful as PS4 Pro, maybe half as powerful. I mean, that I don't even know what that means. Half as powerful as PS4 Pro. Let me see. Let me try to speak better. The technology is completely different, and what they would use, it's more modern. So half as powerful, somewhat as powerful, with new technologies like DLSS and all these different type of things. I don't even know what that means, J2, to be honest. So yeah. Let's see here. Let me read some more questions. Let's see here. Amazon Prime for the Switch. Okay. Let's go. Amazon Prime. Let me see if I missed some stuff back up, because I know there was some questions that I probably missed.
That was the hint. It wasn't Metroid Prime coming. It was Amazon Prime coming. That was it.
Amazon Prime.
Maybe Amazon is buying Nintendo.
Dude, Amazon buying Nintendo. Let's go. If you guys have questions, feel free to let me know in the chat. I guess that was a question if I'm watching the game. But no, I have ESPN, and it's on, like, not on, but like ESPN. Like, I looked at some of the scores, but I'm not a huge college football fan. I'll just say that right now. I'm really not a huge college football fan. Although now that they're getting paid, I mean, a little bit more of a fan now. You got to give them a little bit more incentive than NFL. You got to give them some money right then and there. You know, so a lot of guys are playing a bit harder now, you know, get that NIL money. So let me see here. People want Nintendo to be like every other company. That's not what they're about. Yeah. They're not going to copy every other company. They're going to kind of do their own thing, and then obviously borrow some things here and there, you know, from that. So let's see here. I think the portable will still be 720p, 60 frames to save battery, and dock mode native 1440p, DLSS upscale to 4K 60. I mean, that's possible. Yeah, that definitely seems far more realistic than, you know, 120 frames per second and 8K.
Do you think they do anything other than an OLED screen from now on? Or is that like the base, now that they had an OLED model?
Yeah. The OLED screen is so nice compared to the regular screen.
It was better for battery.
Yeah, because you can turn on and off the individual pixels.
Yeah.
So yeah, how do you guys feel? There was Alex was asking about it's like a supplemental computing device, like for processing in the dock. They've had some patents for that, so I mean, I think it's possible. What do you guys think about that?
It was intriguing when they showed it off. I was waiting for it this gen. It might have been too early, but it's possible. It could come. You know, part of this is go ahead. Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't really have too much to say on it. It's possible. It'd be interesting. But yeah, people, you know, want the power and then forget, like, Nintendo wants a more than 20-minute battery life. You know, they can't shove everything into a system. You know, they have to kind of weigh what they can do then, and then, you know, they'll do a revision or a remodel, you know, a couple years down the line. So it's not going to have everything right away, but yeah, I definitely think that's more likely than what, you know, that other person was talking about before.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's see here. Somebody's asking Splatoon spinoff. I don't think anytime soon. No, they got Splatoon 3 that's rolling, and then they built the spinoff into the Splatoon 3, which is the that one thing that battle game that they have in there. So that would be the spinoff, that little thing. They already have like the so yeah, they kind of built everything into Splatoon 3. So I don't think they're gonna do any spinoff, but you never know. It's possible. Mm-hmm. Disco Elysium. You guys like Disco Elysium? The game looks grimy to me. I didn't play it.
I didn't play it.
Yeah. Do you think we'll ever get Mario Kart 9? Will we ever
Never.
get Mario Kart 9?
Yeah.
We're never gonna get a Mario Kart game again. It's over after this. They're gonna end the series. I
Nintendo's
mean, I was just talking to somebody about how it was probably the dumbest thing that Nintendo's ever done, stopping to sell Super Mario 3D All Stars on the eShop,
Mhm.
where Nintendo was like, you know what, we sold 10 million of this game, and that's it, we're good. They're probably the only company who's ever done that for a game. You know, they sell 10 million and then they're just
Yeah,
good
no, we're good.
on that.
So Mario Kart 9 launch title for the next Switch. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
Yeah, either launch or like within like the launch window.
You know how the Super Mario Brothers movie is going to have Mario platforming and adventuring, and it's also going to have its designated go-kart racing scene? What if the next Mario Kart game is like a Mario Kart world where it's a Mario platformer and Mario Kart 9 in one, and it's a super ambitious thing where you're platforming throughout the world in single player modes, and then you hop into a race and then you go about racing, and then that's their platforming adventure Mario game and a kart in one. And when you can play online,
You
it's kind
can
of a crazy thought.
you can still buy Super Mario 3D All Stars in stores. It's still there because they produced a bazillion copies, but they stopped producing it, and it's not on the eShop. So you can't you can't buy it on the eShop, and there's no more in production. So once the first print run is done, or not first print run, they did a lot of runs of them, but once that's done, it's done. But there's so many that many stores just have excess copies. Like I can go into any Walmart, and buy it. It's there, you know. But eventually it'll be gone. Eventually, one of these days. Let's see here. Shout outs to new subs, Lala or La Joe, La Jojo. Shout outs to the Jojo boys. Shout outs to Jazz Rock. Thank you for becoming a member. Appreciate that. Do appreciate the memberships, guys. Speaking of Mario movie, will you guys visit Super Nintendo World once it opens in the USA? Well, there's already one. There's one opening in Los Angeles area, and then there's one in like Florida. So yeah, I'll visit it at some point. So yeah.
Day one.
Yeah, I'll definitely visit. I don't know if I'll be there right as it opens, but I'll definitely go at some point. Definitely go at some point. If there's actually a Metroid Prime game coming, there is. Do you think the special edition will come out better than the last Metroid Dread special edition we got? Better than the last Metroid Dread special edition? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. Nintendo's hard to predict with special editions and what they're gonna do, so I have no idea. I mean, maybe. Who knows? I don't know. I like Metroid Dread special edition though. It's great. All right. Let me see if there's any other questions. Yeah, I think we got a lot of them. I wanted to stream to about to the top of the hour, and then we can head off into the Spawncast. So if you guys have any more, if I missed any, just type it again, and I'll be more than happy to answer. Somebody's talking about, let's see here, question for the whole cast. Okay, here we go. J2, thank you for the question, J2. And shout outs to Carl for the subscription. Appreciate that. Shout outs to all the new subs today. We got a lot of new subs today, so thank you guys. What game that Nintendo could release in 2023 that would legitimately shock you? A game that Nintendo could release that would shock me? That would shock me. I think that a new Golden Sun would definitely shock me. Like if they did.
I was about to say Golden Sun.
Yeah,
that was my answer.
But if it was not like a remaster or anything like that, like an actual big new
Golden Sun 4.
Yeah, like a new Golden Sun game. Yeah, like that actually uses like not like I said, not like smaller end graphics or anything, but like actually like okay, this is the next Golden Sun. Then yeah, that would shock me. I don't know. What about you, Paul?
I'm hungry for Star Fox, and I think I like the way that the Ratchet and Clank series has evolved, with the last Ratchet and Clank game being a really solid one. I think you kind of take that formula and you take, Fox McCloud and Co. and make it a action adventure type of game going into the space and ground missions for flight. So you retain that fast aerial combat, whether it's forward propelling stuff or 3D on the land, but the rest of the game, because like games have evolved so much, and then are as many people going to play just a straightforward shooter that they're going to be done with in 15 minutes or 20 minutes and that's it, or do they want a beefier adventure? And a beefy adventure Star Fox game, kind of like the latest Ratchet and Clank, like still keeping the part that Star Fox that we all love, the aerial stuff, with some online cooperative, 4-player flying R-wings through valleys and stuff like that's what I want the most. Like, I don't know how likely that is for Nintendo to go in that direction, but that would be the game that would just blow my mind next year if it came out.
That would be awesome. I would want that so much. I think Star Fox is one of those franchises that I really loved back in the day, and I would think I would still like it now that they actually made them. Normally, they skipped the Wii, which they skipped the whole Wii generation. Like, they did nothing on the Wii, which shocked me. I think that's probably the biggest shock, was that there was no Star Fox game for the Wii.
Yeah, but they did put a few on the DS, didn't they?
Yeah,
I think there was on the DS.
They did. They did the Star Fox 64 port, and then they also or remaster, and then they also did the Star Fox. What was it? The DS Star Fox.
I think it was Command. Was that Command?
Command with online multiplayer. It was an okay game. It didn't review particularly well.
Yeah.
But it did have online multiplayer.
But Wii, the system that had 101 million, that had Punch Out on it, brought Donkey Kong back, was a successor to GameCube, and GameCube had Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 and Star Wars Rogue Leader 3, and you didn't have a Star Fox game.
And with the Wii
Wii?
Remote,
With motion control?
that would have been. I was thinking Wii Remote, Joy-Con, you could easily do barrel rolls. Do a barrel roll. You could easily just point and shoot. I was like, there's gonna be a Star Fox. I think that was like my prediction every year. New Star Fox, new Star Fox, new Star Fox, and a new Star Fox never came. I don't see how there was not a new Star Fox for even like a new play control with the GameCube game with like Assault or something like that. Like it blows my mind that there was not a new Star Fox. And then Wii U, there's a Star Fox. And then the Wii U gets a Star Fox, and it's like, wait, okay, sure. Oh man,
it was revealed in such a weird way too.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. It was revealed in a super weird way.
If Platinum Games could be given a big budget to handle Star Fox and not have to be forced to incorporate any kind of dual screen gaming or anything that's kind of weird, and just like make a game from the ground up, Astral Chain level of quality, Bayonetta 2, 3 level of quality, on the ground, in the air, online co-op, with OJ's new app that you could actually talk to people that you were suggesting and do a barrel roll.
Do a barrel roll. I'm telling you, man. If they had full real, they should really look into that. They have they have more of the DNA company, the smartphone company. I think they purchased more of each other or whatever the case was. Or I'm telling you, man, they need full on the dashboard. Full. Everyone would love it. People talk about, I don't like the app and stuff. No, if it's full integration, what I want everybody here in the chat: stop going on your systems to buy stuff. Download PSN, download the Xbox app, and go on there. And if you've got good internet, go on there and start buying your games through there and see how much better you're like. Oh snap, that's lit. I'm at work and I'm just boom, 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 sends to your system, or I'm somewhere else, boom, sends to your system, or even if you're at home, why turn on your system, get your controller, navigate through a freaking clunky keyboard when you can just do everything here, and it's just so much better. So if they get that full integration, and hell, PlayStation and Xbox have pretty damn good integration with the smartphone stuff. Theirs is actually pretty good, and you can do everything on the console, but I don't think you can't control your system through the smartphone. But if they actually get it to where it's that, I'm telling you, man, it would be good. They need to do both though. Have it where it's awesome on the system, but also do it on there too. No, this show is it's not pre-recorded. It's live. I mean, you can tell that it's live by looking at the player. It says live. It says live.
I'm pre-recorded though.
Huh? We pre-recorded and it's pre-recorded live. Pre-record. That'd be like a YouTube premiere then, right? Or no, that wouldn't even be. You can't do that. There's no way to do that. You can't pre-record a live thing. Oh no, you can. You can make the stream go live, and then you can just play the VOD from your stream live, which is just the most ass backward thing ever. Unless, I mean, that's basically what a YouTube premiere is. That's what a YouTube premiere is. That's what they made for YouTube premiere, where you can just play a VOD, but it plays it live with the audience. So like Nintendo Directs are kind of like that, or kind of like live VODs, you know. So yeah, I buy mainly physical games, but sometimes there's only stuff that's digital only. So yeah. But Xbox app won't let you do that anymore. Buy games on the app now. Xbox app won't let you do that anymore to buy games on the app now. Well, I haven't done it on the Xbox. I do it on PlayStation and Nintendo, Nintendo. So yeah. All right. Let's see here. So they need to add that in. Speaking of Ratchet and Clank, High on Life gave me a Metroid vibe mixed with Ratchet and its story and mission objective. Have you guys played the game High on Life?
No.
I'm
I'm
not.
meaning
No.
to. It looks fun, but haven't.
Game Pass. It's a Game Pass game. Yeah, people have been talking about how it's kind of like Metroid mixed in there. I don't know. I haven't played it. I'm not a fan of the humor. I'm not a Rick and Morty fan either. So yeah. Let's see. How about a Last Story remake? That'd be nice.
That story was good.
Yeah, Last Story is really good. That would be really nice, but you know, I don't think it's gonna happen. Oh man. Last game that I beat for the year, just finished Kenna. What was the last games you guys beat for the year?
I'm working on Crisis Core right now, but I'm not going to beat it before tonight's over. But
I can't remember what was the last game that I beat.
Last one for me was Mario plus Rabbids.
I'm so close to
It took
beating.
me a while to beat that.
Yeah, it's actually pretty long if you do all the side quests and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't remember what the last game I beat was, though. To be honest, I can't. I'm playing a lot of games simultaneously, but I want to just stop playing everything and just everything came out at the end of October. I did beat Xenoblade, but that was a while ago.
Bayonetta 3 might be my last, because I'm playing through Ragnarok right now. I'm trying to beat that, and then Crisis Core came out, and then I got my kid Dragon Ball Z Kakarot for Christmas, and Sonic Frontiers for Christmas. So like,
Yeah,
I'm playing all the games that I bought for them. You know.
yeah. I don't know.
Lucky
Of
man.
course. I mean, they're really for you.
Was that?
I said they're really for you, you know.
You know, they kind of are. Like Dad's hobby is all the stuff that you're gonna like anyway.
Yeah,
So
there you go. It's
you're
easy.
lucky.
It's easy. Just go. One of these days, I'll have kids, and I'll be able to play games with them.
Yeah.
My daughter, she's not into games too
Then
much.
they're gonna like delete your save file by mistake, and then it's gonna be over.
That's true. No. My daughter, she plays games, but she's just like Roblox. That's what she's into, man. Like that game is like the greatest game in the world. She said Roblox is better than Mario. I was like, what? Excuse me? What'd you say?
I'll tell you guys. I'm playing Shovel Knight Dig now, and that game is fun, but it's hard.
Shovel Knight Dig. Yeah.
It's very good, but it's hard.
Yeah.
I got to give a shout out to Ghost Song. I've mentioned that a few times on various streams, including your own OJ. Ghost Song is a really good game, and it's my indie pick for Game of the Year, and not just because I'm in it, which as an NPC, because I have a little bit of a bias. I'm a character in it, but
Nice.
it's a Metroid Dread like game, completely, and it's been in development for quite a while, like almost a good 9-10 years. And Ghost Song I beat also. That's one of my last ones. Really good quality title. I recommend.
Nice.
Uh,
Yeah. I'm probably gonna beat Bayonetta 3 soon. I'm doing everything in the game, and I'm recording all the footage, and I'll have a video for you guys. And then I'll probably do Astral Chain before. I gotta play Astral. I gotta replay Astral Chain. It's just been too long. I gotta replay that game. So I'll probably do Astral Chain, and I'll beat that game again, and then I'll get into Fire Emblem Engage. But yeah, I'll probably beat Bayonetta 3 within the next week. I'll probably beat the game like completely, because like I'm doing like everything. I'm trying to get the best scores, and I'm doing all sorts of stuff. So yeah, okay. So it's 6:01. The Spawncast VOD is out. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up for the New Year's show tonight. So Stealth, where can everybody find you at?
Everyone can find me on Twitter at Stealth4DK, where I talk about video games.
Nice. Any New Year's special stuff going down for you for New Year's?
as I've made public on Twitter, I have COVID, so I'm not seeing anybody just because it's
Because you might
not right.
transmit COVID.
Yeah, and I can hardly move.
His body's paralyzed. All right.
Feel better.
Feel better, man. For real. Feel better. We made a few jokes, but we all know we want you to feel better, man. Paul Gale, where can people find you at, man?
On Twitter at Paul Gale Network, and on YouTube just Paul Gale Network as well. So main two things that I'm on.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice. Any projects coming up that you want to let people know about, maybe?
One big project. So I'm turning 40 next year,
Oh,
July 7th, and that's going to be the 11th anniversary of my old Dragon Ball Z transformation video.
nice.
So I'm going to do a new video as I turn 40. So I had to find a way to cleverly edit in footage from my video back, at this point, 10 years ago. And maybe be like, Goku entered the hyperbolic time chamber. 10 years have passed. Find out what happens now on Dragon Ball Z.
That's
And it'll
good.
be me now. And I'll like cut the footage or something like that. So I'm going to make a new, it's for workout purposes also, show what can you achieve if you have the right exercise, have the right diet, focused on that for a limited amount of time. What can you do? That was the intent of the old video. So I'm going to have that, as a project by summer, kind of. That's the big thing, I guess, for next year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also doing like, Kit and Krista, right?
Oh yeah, you're doing like their workout videos and stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm doing workout videos for their stuff, which is kind of like a gamer fitness kind of thing. I have a lot of it on my own channel, and teaming up with them for a little bit of an extended reach too. So that's been going pretty well.
Nice.
I know you're a kinesiology guy too, so you get it.
Yes, I get it. That's why I had to. That's why we started up about 15 minutes late today because I had to finish up my workout and then still get everything set up for the podcast because I wanted to have like the layout that we have because like I haven't done that. I made this layout right before the stream. Like I put everything together. So, okay, cool, sounds good. Shout outs to everybody. Happy New Year's to everybody. Hopefully you guys are all doing great. I mean, I might go live again later tonight if I'm still up because I don't think I'm going to be sleeping. So I might go live again if you guys want to watch. It'll be up. I might or might not. I might just be playing Bayonetta 3 instead. So that's that. 2023, we're going to have a lot of cool stuff. We're going to have our cool podcast that's coming back. I'm not going to reveal the name, but there's going to be a cool podcast. And we are going to do some really fun stuff with playing like going back to the PE Arena days, like we're play some games and stuff, but it's going to be set up a little bit differently. We're going to be having some Twitch streaming as well. We're bringing that back. So yeah, it should be fun. 2023, and of course, all the cool RPG videos and all that good stuff is going to be here. So happy New Year's to everybody. Hopefully you guys are safe. Be careful, and we'll see you guys back. We'll see you guys in 2023. All right, peace out.